Hi, and welcome to our 25th in a continuing series on the book of Shmuel, or Samuel, and the founding of Jewish monarchy. Episode 25, The King in Waiting. The information provided by the Urim is really unusual. In this chapter, we find multiple queries and uncertainties in just how people know what they know. If David is told by the Urim that Shaul will come down, and therefore David flees and Shaul doesn't end up coming down, what does that mean for the veracity of the Urim Is it providing like a sci-fi potential alternate reality? We discuss, and spoiler alert here, the fact that an angel potentially saves David from Shaul's attack, and through that we see an echo of the Akeida story. We also contrast David and Doeg, wondering why a frum Esav is better than a krum Yaakov. Thanks for joining us.
Let me start.
So
First, a word from our sponsor.
first, a word from the Talmud. So we talked about a couple weeks ago. Yehonatan and David had this meetup, and they trying to understand why they're shooting the arrows as a sign. And the explanation that we gave is that Yehonatan was using shooting the arrows as a type of divination, trying to figure out what was the Ratzon Hashem. Let me see where the arrows go, and that's Hashem's way of telling me if David should stay or if he should run away. Right? Even though he knows that Shaul wants to kill David, he still wants to see what sign is he going to get from shooting the arrows. Right? And you had a hard time swallowing.
I didn't like this at all.
Okay, so
First of all, because we know by this point what Shaul is saying, and Yonatan's just sending the message to David.
right.
And number two, I just don't like the idea, I don't feel like it's brought down anywhere in Chazal, nor is it
Okay, so let's
characteristic of a Torah Jew to be doing something that's against the Torah and not have the Tanakh come out and wallop him on the head with a sledgehammer.
Okay, fair.
Yehonatan, if you told me in the later chapters when Yehonatan gets killed in combat and the Tanakh parenthetically says because of that evil which he did in divining
Right.
because he's it says that Shaul engaged in necromancy and
Right.
Yehonatan, not a word.
I hear.
So I don't feel I think the idea of divination, I think it's sparking up the wrong trail. I rarely disagree.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
rarely.
The only thing I want to
express
share with you
dissent.
is a brief excerpt from the Gemara in Gittin about the Churban Beit Hamikdash. So before Yerushalayim was under siege, before the enemies were coming to attack Yerushalayim, the Gemara talks about Neron, who we're going to assume is Nero.
Right, when he shoots the arrows, they
right.
all go towards Yerushalayim.
Right. Shadar Alayhu Neron Kesar. So they sent Nero to go attack Yerushalayim. Ki Ka'asi, he comes to Yerushalayim. Shada Gira Lemizrach. So he shoots an arrow Lemizrach. Ata Nafal Yerushalayim. And the arrow turns around and falls towards Yerushalayim. Lamarav Ata Nafal Yerushalayim. La'arba Ruchot Hashamayim Ata Nafal Yerushalayim. And he sees from there. He says, Amar Kutshabrichu boy lachruve beite, uboy lachpura yade bahu gavra. Hashem wants to destroy the Beit Hamikdash and he wants to blame me. So Arak va'azov v'yigayer unafik mine Rabbi Meir. So he leaves. Yeah. He says, I don't want to do this. Find someone else.
He presses the eject button.
Right. No thanks. Not for me. Okay. So let's start Perek Chaf Gimel. What do I have over here?
We're going to call back to that later.
We'll try. So let's pay special attention in this parak to how people get the knowledge that they have. It's going to be very different. You almost have in a TV show, you have a split screen. On one side is one story and the other side is the other story. So you have David on one side and you have Shaul on the other side. So v'yagidu leDavid le'mor hinei plishtim nilchamim b'ki'ilah v'hema shosim et hagranot. So David is told that the Plishtim are coming to raid a town called Keilah, and they're taking all of the produce that's in the granaries. Okay, why is this weird?
This is Chaf Bet.
Chaf Gimel, Pasuk Aleph. If you are a town under siege at this time, and you're having a problem with the Plishtim, who do you call? Shaul. Shaul's the king, right? It's his job to deal with this kind of stuff, right? So why who's maybe probably the last person you call is
The rebels.
right, David, who is being Whither Malchut, and he's surrounding himself with a bunch of Anashim Reikim, however we described them in the last parak, people who are not such nice people. So why am I calling David if I could be calling Shaul? Right? Fair question?
I says it's Vayagidu. That it's not like they're telling him.
Okay, that's a
it's
fair
like
deal.
He hears like Keila sends out a distress call, and he's like, "Oh well, let's spring into action and reveal the S on his chest."
Okay,
you know?
fair. That's a fair deal. What the Gemara says is essentially they couldn't get anywhere with Shaul. Why? Because this is not life threatening. The Plishtim are coming and they're raiding their stuff. So Shaul says, and the Gemara talks about, do you go to war over mammon, over monetary issues on Shabbat? So if it's Shabbat and the enemy comes and they're stealing your stuff, but they're not trying to kill you, are you allowed to fight back? And the Gemara wants to prove from here that, yeah, you should actually fight back. Why? Especially Keilah is a border city between the Plishtim and the Jews, because if you ignore it, what's going to happen? They're going to escalate, right? They see you don't do anything when you steal their stuff, so the next thing they're going to do is come for more. So we can prove from here that it's like life or death, and David can even on Shabbat go and fight against the Plishtim. Vishal David ba'Adonai lemor ha'elech v'hiketi ba'Plishtim ha'ela. So David has the Urim v'Tumim. We saw, well, actually, we're going to see in a minute that he has the Urim v'Tumim, but we can assume that from Nov we had someone who left Nov and joined up with David and brought the Urim v'Tumim. So he wants to know, what does Hashem tell me to do? Vayomer Adonai el David, lech v'hikita ba'Plishtim v'hoshata et Keilah. Go and fight against the Plishtim, and you're going to save Keilah.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds pretty direct, right? So if you're David, what are you going to do next?
Go do it.
Go fight them, right? Vayomer Anshe David. Well, he can't go by himself. He needs an army, right? So he has these 400 guys.
If God tells you go, you just go.
Okay.
Like, hey, are you guys gonna come share in the victory or not?
I don't know. If you remember a couple prakim ago, God told Shmuel to go anoint David, and Shmuel's like, "Whoa, that's a very bad idea. Shaul's gonna kill me."
I'm just saying that, you know what?
You can't go and just put yourself to the sword.
I don't know about that. Like, I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I
if God says go, you're just gonna go.
If God says go, you go. Okay. If God says don't go, you don't go. If God doesn't give you a clear answer, it's okay.
If God says go and you have 400 guys hanging out with you, should you go without them or should you maybe bring them along?
Huh? You're just, I'm going.
You can tell them.
You can tell them I'm going.
I'm going, guys. You want to come along and have
It's not a conversation.
It's not a conversation. It's we need to go. It's like, even if God forbid someone were to die, okay? Let's say God tells me to go, I go fight. That's clearly in line with the purpose of creation because God's telling me to do it.
Right.
Okay, there's no other authority higher than God. Okay. Therefore, if God is saying it, that is the end line of responsibility.
So is he saying it just you, David, should go?
It doesn't matter. I mean, if he is, great. You know, if he isn't, God said, look at the language.
Okay, let's continue.
Go slice them up.
Right.
Singular, right?
Yeah. Go slice them up. It doesn't matter if you have friends with you. It doesn't matter.
Okay, let's see what
go,
David,
like,
I hear you. Let's see what David does. Vayomer anshe David elav. Hinei po b'Yehuda yireim. We're already scared here in Yehuda. Yehuda is our own shevet, right? We're scared that Shaul's going to come kill us. And you're telling me, you want me to go, not just tell, if I go fight the Plishtim, Shaul will know exactly where I am, right?
Yeah.
So not only am I putting myself in danger with the Plishtim, I'm putting myself in danger with Shaul on top of it.
Doesn't matter.
It does matter, but what they're saying to David is, this is a stupid move, right?
Yeah.
David says, okay, I hear you. He doesn't say goodbye. He says, let's double check. Vayosef o David lish'ol b'Adonai v'yaneu Adonai v'yomer kum raid Keilah ki ani notein et ha'plishtim biyadecha. Go to Keilah. I'm going to give the plishtim into your hand. Vayelech David v'anashav Keilah. So we don't get in between pasuk Dalet and pasuk Hey. There's probably a very powerful speech that David gives to the men that go, we're going to win.
Like God told you twice, guys.
No.
Like.
Okay, so what's the question? What is going on?
Why did God need to tell you twice? Like that. To me, that's like where
Okay.
the Gemara says that Avram was punished. B'ma era.
Right, he's
How am I gonna
Niktane
know?
Amuna.
No, like God told you.
Okay. So what's the answer?
There is no answer. I think it's a mistake.
Ah, okay. That's one answer.
I think the second God said it the first time,
So how did God say it?
go. Late.
No. Through what medium? What system was used to convey that information? The Urim V'Tumim.
So.
Okay. So there are times where what has happened when they went to fight Binyamin, right? Pilegesh Begiva. So the Urim V'Tumim said, go. And they went and they got destroyed.
Yeah.
So
what?
What do you mean, so what?
So what?
So
God told you to go.
Yeah.
God wanted you to get destroyed. That's what was supposed to happen.
Or you didn't ask the question the right way.
Uh-huh. Okay, that's
Right?
fair.
That's the possibility.
Okay, that's fair.
So it might be that go and you will save Keilah, but everyone's going to die out. They need a little bit more information. Is all I'm getting at. When you ask the Urim V'Tumim, if you're not very precise in how you ask the question, the answer could be an answer that sounds very much like
Bewitched.
What do you mean?
Bewitched is that movie where the guy gets 3 wishes and he wishes for something.
Right, and he
because
doesn't.
It's the devil. It's like
right. They twist his words. Yeah. It can happen with the Urim V'Tumim that if you're not precise in how you ask the question, the answer you're going to get is an answer to the question, maybe not the way you intended it.
It's called a mathematician's answer.
Right.
Right? Should I have pasta for dinner or meat? Yes.
Right.
You should have pasta or meat for dinner.
Right.
So what do you do with this now? So now, do you not listen to Ratoman because you get an answer? They could just say, "Oh, maybe I asked the wrong way."
No, that's why he asked again. In other words, he tells his army, "Hey, I asked the Urim V'Tumim, and the Urim V'Tumim says go." They're like, "Well, wait a minute. Does go mean go and you're all going to die, or does go mean go and you'll be successful?" Like, let's clarify. Is all that happens. So in pasuk vav, Vahi bivroach Eviatar ben Achimelech. This is the information I gave you before, but now the Navi is going to give it to you. Vahi bivroach Eviatar ben Achimelech el David Kila ephod yara biado. In case you want to know how did everything that we just discussed play out, it's because he was able to bring the ephod with the Urim V'Tumim with him in his hands when he came to join up with David running away from the destruction of Nov. V'yugad l'Shaul kibad David Kila. Vayomer Shaul nikar oto Elohim biyadi ki nizgar lavo be'ir d'latayim uvariach. Okay, so Shaul is also V'yugad, right? Everyone is getting information, but they're getting it in 2 very different ways. Remember, we had like our split screen. David gets information how? What's that?
Anshe Keilah says it.
Anshe Keilah, but how does David know that he's going to be successful or not? He asks Hashem. Shaul does not ask Hashem anything. Shaul just finds out because people talk, right? Someone tells him, "V'yugad l'Shaul." So Shaul sees that and tries to read into it that's Hashem telling him. He says, "Nikar oto Elohim biadi." What translation do you have over there by Karin? What's that? Masal. Right. Okay. What else do you have for Nikar? I'm sure each one of these will have a different translation for Nikar.
Like recognizable.
Nikar, right? Hashem has identified him for me. Okay. So Hashem has delivered him into my hand because he is what shut himself up. Lavo bi'ir d'latayim ubariach. He's locked in. He's under the gate and the bars. Vayishma Shaul et kol ha'am lamilchama. So Shaul gathers the entire army to fight a Jew.
Right.
Crazy. Laredet ki'ilah latsur el David ve'al anashav, to go and attack David and his people. So whatever Shaul is telling the people.
Sorry, Shaul said, "God has cast him away into my hand."
Cast him away is like make him a nachri, nikar.
Oh, okay, nachri.
So whatever Shaul is telling the people, he's giving them the impression that that it's worth putting the whole Jewish army not to go fight Keilah, but to go fight David. That's how bad David has to be in the eyes of not just Shaul but the whole army. Vayomer David, Adonai Elohei Yisrael, shamoa shama avdecha ki mivakesh Shaul lavo el Keilah l'shachet le'ir bavuri. So remember, we just had the destruction of Nov.
Did you skip?
I'm sorry, I skipped. Vayeda David ki alav Shaul macharish hara'a vayomer el Aviatar Kohen hagisha ephod. Yeah, thank you. So David now also hears Vayeda David from wherever that Shaul is planning to attack him, and he calls Aviatar. There's a whole the Rambam goes through the whole process of what do you do when you ask the Urim V'Tumim a question? How does it work? He has to stand facing the Aron with the back to the other person, and the person asking the question has to ask it not in a loud voice, but not just in his thoughts. There's a whole process for what's going on over here, but let's assume that David follows this whole process. So then, Vayomer David Adonai Elhei Yisrael Shamoa Shama Avdecha Ki Mivakei Shaul Lavo El Ki'ila L'Shachet La'ir Bavuri. He's speaking now to Eviatar, who's wearing the ephod and the Urim V'Tumim, and explaining, I'm hearing that Shaul is coming to kill me, right? And not just coming to kill me, but L'Shachet El Ki'ila, right?
He killed Nov. He's going to kill all you guys too because I'm here.
Exactly. The destruction of Nov is so powerful that it's going to reverberate through the rest of the book. Meaning everyone heard what happened. They have to assume if Shaul is willing to kill out a whole city of Kohanim because of David, that David's a really bad guy, right? So this is all part of how we paint David into being the Rasha. So now he wants to know, Hayazgiruni ba'alei kila biado, and that's question number 1. Question number 2, Hayered Shaul kasher shama avdecha. So one of the things the Rambam mentions, when you're asking the Urim V'Tumim, you only get one question at a time. But David is so frightened by what's going on over here that he doesn't follow the regular process, and he asks 2 questions. So what happens if you ask 2 questions when you're only supposed to ask one? You only get one answer. Kasher Shema Avdecha, Adonai Elohei Yisrael Haged Nala Avdecha. Please tell me what to do. Vayomer Adonai Yered. So which question was answered?
The first one, Hayered Shaul.
So that's the question. That's the question that should have been asked first, right? If you look at the questions, we get 2 questions, but we get them in the wrong order. Question number 1 is Ki'ilah going to give me over to Shaul? And question number 2 is Shaul going to even come? You should ask the other way around. Question number 1 should be, is Shaul going to come? And then, if he's going to come, are they going to give me over to Shaul? Right? So, David asked them in the wrong order, and then he gets the answer to the second question, not the first.
Yeah, but you only need the second question.
What do you mean?
He's coming.
Okay, and what if
Anshe get out of Dodge?
What if Anshe Ki'ilah don't give David over?
Why would you want to get into a civil war? Like that, why would you want any unnecessary lives left?
Okay,
like
so that's,
to me, Yered is like that. That's everything that David and Melch needs to know.
Okay, interesting.
That's what I think.
So maybe I'll ask the question a different way. Why even ask the Urim V'Tumim? You heard Shaul is coming. Just go. You have to ask Hashem. Should I go? What should I do? What do you mean? Shaul is amassing a whole army. Just leave. Why do you have to ask the Urim V'Tumim anything?
Okay, that's a good question.
It's the same basic idea, right?
Okay, fair enough. I'll reserve judgment.
Okay. Well, at least part of the answer is David wants to do everything based on the guidance of Hashem.
Right.
So
okay,
that's a fair beginning to the answer, but I don't think it's a complete answer. Give me one second. Vayomer David.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. Vayomer David hayazgiru ba'alei kila oti v'yet anashai biyad Shaul vayomer Adonai yazgiru. So now he's got to ask the second question. Right. Are they going to give me up or not? And Hashem says they're going to give me up.
Right. That's a weird word.
Sagur.
Yeah, like that means to close, like boxing you in or closing you off.
They're going to close me out, like. They'll open the door, throw me out, and close it behind me.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, he says it means to hand over.
Okay.
Yeah, I just something about that word strikes me as
think about the implications.
Right.
David just saved them.
Right.
And they're willing to hand him over. Why?
Because they don't all want to die.
They don't. Right. That's Nov again. It's the same
Yeah.
idea. Everyone is scared of Shaul now because they saw what lengths he's willing to go to. So even if David saved them, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
V'yakam David v'anashav kishesh me'ot ish v'yetzu mikila. So they leave Kila.
David and Melech did it before Spider-Man, before it was fashionable,
Right.
Before Spider-Man or any of these guys did it,
So Gur also hand over?
Last year to return.
To return.
V'yisalachu ba'asher yisalachu, and they go wherever they went. This is a weird phrase. They left Kila and then they went wherever. Ula Shaul hu Gad, and now again, how does Shaul find things out? Just by reading Twitter. Ki nimlat David mikila v'yechdal latzeit, and so he doesn't bother going because if I'm not going to get him, then why bother going? Now here's the big question that you're desperate to ask me.
If God Urim v'Tumim said he's coming, now that he decides not to come, it proves
The Urim v'Tumim didn't say the truth.
Right.
Right? So what that boils down to is it's like science fiction. It means that when you ask the Urim v'Tumim, you're not asking what will be, you're asking what is likely to be.
Well,
what could happen? Something along the right. You're asking for what is the most likely outcome, and you're getting unless you change the future, this is what the future will be.
Right. That's what I think. I think it's more like right. This is the timeline.
Should nothing else happen?
Right. Like this is the Back to the Future thing. Like you have to change the future. You
Right.
have like here's what happens in the original timeline.
Right.
Okay. He's coming. Okay. Now it's your turn. Are you going to do something? Are you going to repeat the history? Or are you going to
Right. But it's very weird, right?
It is very weird.
It's weird to have the Urim v'Tumim say this is what's going to happen, and that doesn't happen.
But it's also, I think it's a demonstration of the idea that human beings have bechira. Because if we did it like that's like this is the crossroads. These psukim.
That's interesting.
This is like the demonstration of that concept that like we can choose our path.
Okay.
How do you solve it? If the Urim said he's not coming, then David's going to stay.
Right.
And then he's going to come.
Oh, that's even more interesting. That's what he's saying. You have free will.
Right.
If the Urim Tumim says he's not coming, then either it's impossible for him to come, then he has no free will, or he comes and proves the Urim Tumim wrong.
Right.
I hear. Okay. Vayeshev David b'midbar b'mitzado, vayeshev bahar b'midbar zif, v'yivakshu Shaul kol hayamim v'lo natno Elohim biyado. So David now, if we go back to our handy dandy map, he's still in the area of Yehuda. He's a little further south, and Shaul can't find him because he's in the wilderness, right? Vayar David ki yatsa Shaul uvakeshet nasho v'David b'midbar zif b'chorasha, wherever Chorasha is. Vayakam Yehonatan ben Shaul vayelech el David. So to me, this is very, very weird. We just spent 3 psukim telling you that Shaul, the king of the Jews, cannot find David because he's so well hidden. But Yehonatan knows exactly where he is.
Right.
And can go directly to... Remember, Shaul knows that Yehonatan made a brit with David. So who are you going to keep under surveillance?
Mm-hmm.
Keep some guy outside of Yehonatan's door just in case he goes running off somewhere, right? How hard could it be? But no, Yehonatan goes directly to David. And he encourages him in the name of Hashem. Remember, again, David is getting information about Hashem, and Shaul is getting no information about Hashem. The other question I have for you is Yehonatan allowed to do this lahalacha? David's life is in danger.
Yeah.
Yehonatan's life is not in danger. He's not saving David's life by going there. So he's putting himself in danger for no reason. What possibly could be the good that will come out of something like this? Too many questions.
No, sometimes friendship makes you do proper but stupid things.
Yeah, the answer could be no, he shouldn't have done it, but he did it anyway because he couldn't help himself.
Yeah.
Trying to get him chizuk, that's what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's he felt that
Right.
was
Okay.
worth it to give the chizuk.
Vayomer elav al tira, ki lo timtza'acha yad Shaul avi v'ata timloch al Yisrael. So this is the first time where he's very explicit, Yehonatan, that you, David, are going to be Melech al Yisrael, v'anochi ehyeh lecha lemishneh, and I will be second to you, which is amazing, because as it stands, if Yehonatan says one word to Shaul, I know exactly where David is, go take care of him, Yehonatan's next to be the king, right?
Yeah.
He has no interest in being the king. He's only asking that I should be the Mishneh, right? V'gam Shaul avi yodea kain. This is what you were saying, Stephen. This is the real chizuk. Not only do I know it, okay, Mela, we're friends, but my father knows it. So if my father knows it, everything is going to work out for you. He'll put on a good show chasing you because he's crazy, but at the end he's never going to finish. V'yichretu shnehem brit lifnei Adonai v'yeshiv David b'chorasha Yonatan halach lebeito, and this is the last time David and Yehonatan have any interaction for the rest of Yehonatan's life.
Incidentally.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm not sure of this, but, I feel like some of this, maybe the subtext of some of this is, like they have in movies, they have the, maybe David and Melech and Yehonatan, they go out hunting together, they go out, they hang out, and they find this particular spot somewhere that they camp and they have like a nice time there, and like maybe David returns there, and like Yehonatan knows where that place is, Shaul doesn't know, nobody else knows, but he knows that David's gonna go there because
otherwise how
they
else would
have
he
a
know?
shared knowledge, like I can imagine like David coming up to the place and Yonatan being like, "I knew I'd find you here."
Right.
Like, dude, we're buddies. Like, you wanted me to find you here. That's why you came here.
Right. You always go to Midbar.
Right. You always go to Midbar
whenever things
Zif,
are bad
whenever
for you.
Yeah. Like this is where you come when All right. Or you wanted me to find you here because
Right.
you knew that if there was something I needed to know, you come for me here. Like,
Interesting.
That's what I think.
That's
like,
cool.
Why can nobody else find it? Because they don't know that these two friends have a thing. It's
Right.
like an inside joke, know? Like you and I say a joke,
Right. No one else knows the backdrop.
Yeah,
Okay.
so of course he knows where to go.
Okay. Well, the Zifim also seem to know what's going on. V'yalu Zifim el Shaul hagivata lemor halo David mistater imanu b'mitzodo b'chorasha b'givat ha'chila asher miyamin ha'yishimon. And we're going to give you but not just like he's spotted in the neighborhood. We're going to give you the most exact coordinates that we could possibly give you. He's by Choresh in the hills of Achila to the south of Yishimon. I'll put the GPS coordinates into your Google Maps.
Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly where he is. V'ata l'chol avat nafshecha hamelech l'redet raid v'lanu hazgiru biyan hamelech. You, whatever you want, Mr. King. It's going to be up to us to make sure that we hand him over to you, but we're here to tell you that the person you've been seeking to kill, we know exactly where he is. The question I have for you is, well, then just kill him. If you know Shaul wants David dead, later on we're going to find many times where people think that David wants to kill somebody, so they kill him, and then they show up to David, hey, we got that guy killed. Right, and David's not happy. But you see, people think that when the king wants someone dead, you go kill him. Not, oh, by the way, David is hanging out in my backyard. I'm going to go take the next 3 days, travel over to Givat Shaul, tell Shaul, and then travel back and hope he's still there.
I think this is like the super villain's fallacy, where it's like, I want to execute the hero of the story in a public manner as a cautionary tale to all the little people in the provinces that this is what happens to the man who opposes me. And it's like, no, dude, just have an assassin. Just have the sniper just do it, and like, okay, then you can tell them what a great victory you had.
Okay, that's fair.
It wouldn't be so easy.
That's, I think, a more practical answer. David is the hero of the army. He's got 400 people who just routed the Plishtim again with who knows what they had, sticks and whatever they used to fight off the Plishtim, and they were successful. If I'm the mayor of Zif, I say, look, Shaul has an army. I don't have an army. I've got Zif, right? Vayomer Shaul, Bruchim atem ladonai ki chamaltem alai. Finally, someone is nice to me, right? If you remember before, Shaul has been paranoid that everyone is trying to betray him. This is the first time that someone gave him information, and again, he still believes that he's doing what Hashem wants him to do. He's invoking the Shem Hashem. that Hashem should bless you for what you've come to do and show compassion to me. L'chuna hachinu od u'du'u et mikamo asher tiyeh raglo mira'ohu sham ki amar elai arom ya'arimhu. I need like very well planned out details. I want the schematics. I want the map. I want to know where every hiding place is. This guy is very tricky. I'm not coming until I know all the ways that he could squirm his way out of here. This is the reverse of what we just had in last pasuk. Mikol hamach ovim asher yitchabesham. Remember, Shaul was the one who's originally mechabel kelim. So I want to know where's David hanging out? Where are all his hiding places? V'shavtem elai el nechon v'halachti itchem v'aya im yeshno ba'aretz v'chipasti oto b'chol alfei Yehuda. I will search for him throughout Yehuda. I don't care that it's Yehuda and I'm from Binyamin. I'm the king. I'm going to go look for him wherever I need to get him. V'yakumu v'yelchu zifa lifnei Shaul v'daviv anashav v'midbar ma'on ba'arava el yemini Shimon. And so David is still, David didn't know, right? Remember, David is the one that gets all his information from Hashem. He didn't know that he's been ratted out to Shaul. V'yelch Shaul v'anashav l'vakesh v'yagidu l'David. Again, David seems to find out not through Hashem. Vayered hasela, and he goes to this stony area. Vayeshib midbar ma'on, Yishma Shaul v'yerduf acharei David midbar ma'on. So they go out into the wilderness of Ma'on. Vayelech Shaul mitzad hahar mizeh, v'David v'nashav mitzad hahar mizeh. So David is coming up on this side of the mountain. Shaul and his army are coming up on the other side of the mountain, and it's very close to Shaul catching David. Vayihi David nechpaz lalechet mipnei Shaul, and David is trying hard to escape from Shaul. V'Shaul v'anashav otrim et el David v'al nashav letafsam, and Shaul and his men are, I think they call it a pincer move, right? They're going to come around from both sides and catch him in the middle. So what happens? Umalach ba el Shaul, a messenger comes to Shaul lemor, maharav alecha ki pashtu plishtim al haaretz. You have to come back quickly because the plishtim have invaded. So before we read the next pasuk, remember, Shaul is crazy in his need to pursue David. What if you're Shaul? What do? Do you kill David or do you go save the country?
Well, the right thing to do is save the country.
If you're Shaul.
Emotions. Like if you go with the emotions, you go for the David. But if you go with your brain,
right.
So what do you think he's going to do?
He has to go. I mean, he also you're the king. Like I think somebody probably said to him, "You're the king. You need to go protect us. The Plishtim are invading. Like you're the king. Remember that, So because if you're not the king, you're just some murdering guy who's going to try to murder another dude, and what's going on?
Right.
If you're the king, go do the king thing.
Go be
the king, and then you can deal with the other stuff later.
Right. So Chazal want to say from here that it's not, when we say it's a malach ba, it's not just a messenger, but it must have been a malach mamish. Mm-hmm. Why? Because a messenger doesn't order around the king. The messenger doesn't come here and say, maybe you should, I want to tell you. It says, go. He's giving him orders. Go quickly, because the Plishtim have invaded. You have something to do. Get out of here and go take care of business. Vayashav Shaul mirdov acharei David, and Shaul relents. He doesn't continue chasing David. Vayelech likrat Plishtim al ken karu lamakom hahu selah machlakot. So they call, because Shaul was about to.
He was right about to catch him.
Right. So this was the dividing line, the watershed moment where Shaul made the right decision and didn't go after David, and instead went to save the people from the Plishtim. So many times we try to talk through some parallels between these stories and other stories in Tanakh. I want to try this one out because to me it seems very, very strange. I almost see what we saw here at the end as a reverse of the story of the Akeida. So if you remember, David is Shaul's son-in-law, not his son, but you have the father who feels compelled by Hashem. Remember, the Ruach Ra that Shaul has is from Hashem. So he feels compelled by Hashem to go kill his son-in-law instead of his son, until a malach comes and says, stop, go back, and don't kill him. Right? In a weird way, it's not exactly the same, but in a weird way, there's an echo of the story of the Akeida here, where Shaul makes the right decision, just like it was hard for him, it was hard for Abraham, but he relents and he goes to do the thing that he's supposed to do.
I like the word echo.
Yeah. Okay. There's one last thing I wanted to cover. So I know we've done it before. There are many prakim in Tehillim. There's an essay over here that maybe I'll send around afterwards from Rav Chaim Angel of all the different prakim in Tehillim that correspond to the stories that we just read. Parak Nun Bet is the story of Nov and Doeg Ha'adomi. So we had talked a little bit about Doeg last time, and I just want to kind of flesh it out a little bit more. Doeg, if you remember, was the Abir HaRoim. He was the head shepherd. He's the one that caused the whole destruction of Nov, because he saw the conversation between David and the Kohanim. He told Shaul about it. Shaul wanted to have Nov killed. No one would do it until Doeg goes and does it. The Doeg essentially in the Tanakh is really the opposite of David in every way, meaning David was also a shepherd. David started out as a shepherd. Doeg is the Abir Haron. He's the head of all the shepherds. David is the one who's going to fight the Plishtim to save the Jewish people. Doeg is the one who's going out to massacre the Jewish people. Their names are literally the same, except what's that?
Aleph and Doeg.
Doeg is Daled Vav Aleph Gimel, and David is Daled Vav Daled. So you break the Daled into an Aleph Gimel, and you have the same thing.
Oh, okay.
They're both Edomi, right?
Red.
David is Edom, and Doeg is the Edomi. So we talked about how strange it is that the idea for the perfect king is someone like David who is Edomi. He's essentially like a frum Esav, right? The opposite of that is what Chazal do with Doeg. So we don't see from the psukim that Doeg is such a big Talmud Chacham, but in the Gemara, Doeg is the Gadol Hador, he's the head of the Sanhedrin. He's the one who, but what Chazal says, he uses it for the wrong purpose. That when David goes to fight Goliath,
he's like a scheming evil chess master.
Right, he's the example of someone who uses their Torah knowledge for the wrong purpose. And what I would argue to you is just like David is a frum Esav, Doeg is essentially a perversion of Yaakov. Right. Oh. Yaakov is Yoshev Ohalim, right? He's a person who puts Torah first, and Doeg does the same thing, but all the Torah that he learns, he uses for the wrong purpose. He uses to try to undermine David, right? And so they're really one is the opposite of the other.
That one hurts.
That one hurts, right?
Because when you're saying it out loud and you're articulating, I'm like, yeah, ooh, that seems legit.
It's kind of scary how but so where Chazal get this idea that Doeg was such a big Talmud Chacham comes from the prakim in Tehillim, where David starts talking about Doeg as his enemy, and okay, I think we'll stop over here for tonight.
This is the end, beautiful friend. Thanks for joining us on this journey. I look forward to learning more together in the future. I'd really appreciate it if you would share this share with others and help us spread the Torah. Thanks.